Welcome back. Another episode of Rhythm and Roast Cafe. In case you forgot who I am, I'm Nick. Danny D.
I'm Danny D.
Roy McCampbell.
Roy. Might have forgot what I look like. Just to tell you a little bit about what happened with me over the last few months. My mother-in-law, I might have mentioned this a little while back, came down with an incurable form of brain cancer. And since about the beginning of June on, we were taking care of her at home, which if anybody's gone through that, and I'm sorry that you have, if you did, we know some people that have had to go through that, but she lived at home with us and we took care of her at home till the end. She passed away a couple of weeks ago. So it's time for me to get back to doing what I do, which is aggravating my partner Danny here. So we're going to be off to the races today to do that. You'll notice that we're kind of missing somebody as well, too. And it pains me that people are afraid to come on and talk. They're fearing for their safety. They're fearing that what they're going to say or do on this forum is going to reflect badly in their personal life, and somebody's going to take some type of weird retribution. When Danny and I first started talking about this whole thing, the whole point of it is for us to have dialogue, respectful dialogue, and at the end of the day, still respect each other as friends that we are, but as, Americans and compadres and people that are living on this earth that all need to get along. So if watching this program is going to incite you, is going to make you angry, it's going to piss you off to the point that you feel that you need to act out against someone, not even us, anybody
Get that keyboard out and text us about it.
Get the beer muscles on the keyboard, but just turn us off. Really, just turn us off. Our whole point is we can be able to talk and have differing views and be able to do that. And a lot of that is what, I haven't been around for a while, but I know you guys had an episode, but Charlie Kirk always espoused doing that. Charlie Kirk's point was, if we stop talking, that's when violence starts. And you have to be able to talk in your marriage, in your political life, whatever the case may be, at work, you need to have a dialogue if you're going to either work through problems or respect each other for what you're saying. So with that, any comments before we...
Yeah, you gave a long CV, okay? I'm going to give you my CV because I've never given it to you, but most of you know me anyway. I worked my way through college, okay? silver spooned. I worked my way through college. I had a full-time job and a part-time job. My full-time job was Illinois Department of Corrections, where they put me in a cell with 12 15 to 17-year-old juvenile delinquents for 8 hours. In that cell, I was the only one that had keys to get out of that cell. There were 10 to 12 of them, and believe me, 15 to 17 years old is big, okay? It's big enough to be, they rioted on me once, just once in 3 years, you know, and I got hit with flying dishes and garbage cans and chairs, and you don't know what until I finally got support from some of the other staff. However, after that, I started working for the Department of Revenue, and that's how I learned what money is all about and how government really works. You know, the Department of Revenue will solve all your problems. It'll also tell you who's got the money, where it went, and how they got it, okay? Because we had computers long before anybody else did. And I was able to get in, and let's say it was about the mid-60s, no, 70s. I was able to get into anybody's personal life, you know, from my computer at the Department of Revenue. Anyway.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that is kind of scary, but you know what? You got to follow the money, right? If they deliberately got rid of cash, there would be no way to have money laundered. None.
Well, that's what they're trying to get to.
Okay, because
They're almost forcing cash out of the system.
And even if you go to cryptocurrency, there's still a way to track cryptocurrency.
I mean, go to a sporting event and try to pay cash for a beer.
Right?
You can't do it.
Well, you can't pay cash at Portillo's.
In the drive-through.
In the drive-through.
You got to walk in.
You got to give them a credit card at Portillo's.
And if you ever really want to have fun with cash,
do we have a question?
I just wanted to add in there, we had Rhonda chime in, and when you were going over your history and upbringing of career, she wanted to add that you also partied pretty good too, with a big old laughing face. So I think you left that part out.
Oh yeah, I partied like there was no tomorrow. But whatever. Okay, I got a degree in social work. Okay, that's what I was working my way through school for, a social work degree. Now, to see the flip side of my personality, the job I had, besides the part-time job I had from before, during, and after Department of Revenue, was I was a bouncer at the Aragon Ballroom, okay, amongst other places. But I started out at the Aragon, and after about 7 or 8 years of bouncing at the Aragon and other places, I met Nick at Beginnings. He was a barback, okay? He was a lot younger than me. You know, he was working his way through college by being a barback.
17
okay, and when the company Jam Productions had to balloon up to 800 or 900 people to do a Grateful Dead show or some outdoor Soldier Field event like Bruce Springsteen, I had to go from a standing crew of 60 to 70 guys to balloon up to 800. All right, so when I did that, I pulled everybody that I knew, every cousin I had, every neighbor that ever talked to me, and every barback that I ever met.
And the barback's friends.
And the barback's friends, and sister.
Because I had a couple of buddies that worked a few shows, and they were like, okay, this is fun, I'm never doing it again.
Well, you know, you're talking about a 17 to 20 hour day, okay, when you start out. And we were so generous, we gave you 2 sandwiches and 3 Cokes during that period of time, and a beer at the end.
Well, you usually had pizza too.
Oh, well, yeah, pizzas too.
Pizza at the end. So.
Well, no, that was for the better guys like you.
Yeah,
the higher ranking guys.
Roy's the newcomer.
Roy's the newcomer. Well, eventually Nick became my partner. Okay, we split off from Jam and we decided to put our talents together. He's totally the opposite of me, okay, which makes it absolutely perfect, okay? I would have a thought and he'd laugh and tell me how crazy I am, you know?
And vice versa.
Yeah, and I would tell him how his pants are too tight. Anyway, we got along well. He gave me all the legal background I needed to do to make sure my craziness didn't get out of control. So Nick and I started this security company, and I want to tell you, if they had asked us how to secure the election results, okay, or the thing in Washington D.C., that riot wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Believe me, Nick can attest to that.
Never use bike rack.
Yeah, never use bike rack. I mean,
Never
geez.
use bike rack as a crowd control device.
Yeah, we stopped doing
Visual
that.
deterrent only.
We stopped doing that in the 70s. Anyway, all right, that's us.
get
Roy.
I'm Roy.
Okay, what do you do?
I'm an attorney, and I've kind of had a lot of different choices and journeys. So I think I'm more of a balance. I'm hoping I'm between the two. That's why I'm sitting here.
Okay. Yeah, this
Well, at
is,
least that's
I
where
mean,
you're sitting.
I know Roy professionally, but it was the first time we've ever jumped into this setting in terms of discussing things of that nature. You were talking about being locked up in a cell.
Yes.
I do a lot of criminal defense work, and a lot of times, at certain places, to talk to your defendant who is in an inmate, they make you go in the cell, and there's a little cell, and there's about 15 guys. And you're trying to talk to your guy, and you always get somebody chirping. Sometimes they're chirping and they're on your side. It's like, man, dude, listen to the guy.
Yeah.
And then the other guy goes, "That's bullshit. You don't have to take that deal." And you got to hold your ground, man. It's like,
So you can't pull them out and go to some room?
No, they don't have the facility for you to do that sometimes.
So
okay?
TV's full of crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the facility. There's some places that are real good about it, and there's some places that are designed for it, and there's some places that aren't. Maywood in particular, if you don't talk to them in in Maybrook, so you don't talk to them in the seats. Guys chirping about, what an idiot the lawyer is, and they just turn and I go, freaking talking to you? Okay, I'm trying to do business here. Leave me alone, okay?
Do they ask you for a card?
Sometimes, so.
Is it almost like chasing an accident? An ambulance?
No, I'm there. No, that's such a fallacy. I mean, there's guys out there that are tuned into that, and as soon as there's an accident, they got the police scanners, and they're going to the hospital, and but
that's not you're a defense attorney, so
Roy's
you wouldn't
business,
be in for
my business. Yeah. We're all the
that's
same
a
way.
primary
It's like
business.
it's here. Call my guy.
Yeah, now
Call Nick.
Now
call Roy.
Now, attorneys in general are kind of like a general practitioner with a specialty in a certain area, right?
Yeah,
so that if somebody comes up to you and says, you're a friend of mine and I need a divorce and I need somebody I can trust, and you're a defense attorney, you'll probably take that, right?
Well,
or if
listen,
not that,
no,
take that,
yeah.
you'll service it to somebody else.
Listen, I was a public defender. Could not afford one. You got me. I came out. I was doing mainly criminal defense work. People started calling me for divorce. I started doing divorce. People started calling me for real estate. I had some friends of mine that were real estate brokers. They started doing real estate. Somebody came to me. Somebody's aunt died, and they needed a probate. I started doing probate, and so you kind of once you kind of branch off and you learn some of these different other areas, and you realize there's courtrooms and then there's other lawyering. Mm-hmm. Okay, if a lawyer is not afraid to go in a courtroom, he can do just about any type of case. There's some nuances between like personal injury and workers' comp and things of that nature. Roy specializes in a lot of school stuff, it can be a little bit more technical. Immigration is another whole area that like they got their own forms and their own stuff and their own this, and you can get really caught up. You can get pantsed in immigration court if you don't know what you're doing there. But for the most part, you just as a lawyer, if I don't know it, I'll find somebody that does. Mm-hmm. There's some guys that are just strictly criminal defense guys. There's some strictly divorce guys. There's guys strictly probate guys.
Which would you say is the most lucrative besides the personal injury lawyer?
There's divorce lawyers that know how to be divorce lawyers, and they bill, and they don't care that they bill, and they'll put you in serious debt because they're going to lawyer that case the way they want to, and they won't take into account how much money you got.
Do men seeking a divorce, do they go after divorce lawyers who have a history of beating women?
No. That's a whole, that Jeffrey Leving thing about he's a dad's rights guy. Yeah, they represent women too. Okay.
That's a marketing gimmick
Yeah,
more than
it's
facts.
exactly right. It's exactly right. So,
Well,
the
most
area-
men feel
the
they
area
get
of
jacked
law-
in Illinois in
the
a
area-
divorce
yeah,
court,
the area of law
especially if they have kids.
Yeah, the area of law that sometimes is the cleanest is probate.
Yeah.
Okay, because the money's there. So you do the work and you get paid. The estate's there, or the
But
guardianship.
I always used to think that divorce was the most ruthless and ugly. I will tell you, the estate is worse because when family is fighting over money, they are out to slit each other's throats.
I know,
okay?
I went through it.
And families have hated each other since they were 3 years old.
At
At least in divorce, you liked each other enough
Yeah,
to do the horizontal tango every once in a while. Okay, probate, that doesn't exist. So I agree with Roy 100%. There is more vitriol in probate than anywhere else. And I'll tell you the other thing too. The most professional lawyers that I run into, the ones that have the greatest respect for each other at the end of the day, are the criminal guys.
The criminal?
Absolutely. The defense attorneys and prosecutors, for the most part that I've seen in the system, they'll go toe to toe, and at the end of the day, they'll go out and they'll have a drink with each other, and they'll go see you tomorrow. Okay, there is not that animosity that you would think from in that area of law, especially when you have some very intense.
Well, that's
criminal
because
things and very
it's
emotional
not
things.
like the internet, okay? You're not calling each other names, okay? You're presenting evidence in a way that you think is palpable.
And well, I was going to say, you have a conversation. It's not about each other. It's about what you're doing for your
Right.
client. And my opinion is, listen, a client gets upset. What I do if I get a decent-sized civil case that's got issues, I'll call the other lawyer up if I don't know him and say, hey, can we meet for lunch? Can we meet for dinner? And we'll talk about what we're dealing with. And the first thing I do is I warn the client because the client's got the knife out wanting to kill the other side. And I say, well, you hired me because you need somebody with a sane mind to have a conversation. You two can't get along. And so if you don't want to cost yourself lots of money, me and the other lawyer got to figure a common ground out to get this thing done.
I'm not in the revenge business.
That's right.
Okay, I'm not in the revenge business.
No,
I'm
you
here
guys
to-
are. You guys are into. Well, it's a Greek thing because it started with Socrates. Okay, that's where you guys are. Okay, you are deterministic. You start with causality, and you go causality brings out this determinism.
I've always said this. That's why doctors and lawyers don't get along because they think completely different. Inductive versus deductive reasoning.
Right, absolutely.
We think completely different when we're trying
Absolutely.
to analyze something. The Bar Association just sent out a thing a few months ago about civility, and my comment to them was the most uncivil people in the courtroom are the judges.
Oh, because they're
I've had very
autocratic.
No, I've had very little to no issues with lawyers acting like
Oh,
jerks.
you mean the remarks that they make?
The judges, there are judges that you run into that you look at them and go, who the hell are you talking to? I've been a lawyer longer than you've been alive. You're a 37-year-old punk on the bench and you're going to talk to me like that? No, I'm sorry. I said when I turned 60 and I'm now 66 that I don't give a shit switch has no dimmer. Okay. And if I get to the point, I'm like, I'm not taking that anymore. No. We're not playing that. And some of the worst people that act like the biggest asses in the courtroom are the judges. It's not the lawyers. I don't have problems with lawyers. Like Roy says, you're there. You're going to see that lawyer again someday. He's probably going to be on another case with you someday down the road. Or
Well, you
can
might
see him
need
at the
him.
courthouse, or you might need him. He might, you might have an expertise all of a sudden that you realize that you can pull off of, But the judges, bad. Sometimes they're bad.
Well, and I think it's interesting. Probably the first time Nick and I met was we were representing clients on the opposite side of the fence. Okay? And yet we today consult with each other about questions for clients that we're currently representing.
I have a partner in a big firm downtown that refers me stuff, and we were on the opposite ends of cases, and we fought tooth and nail. But she respected me, I respected her. We got along real well, and at the end of the day, she goes, "You're my guy. If I need something to do, Paige."
So why doesn't it translate to social media? What's your thoughts on that?
Because social media doesn't allow you to communicate with eye contact, inflection, tone, all of
Tone.
that stuff. Okay,
Tone's the big one.
it really doesn't. Okay, whatever you type in, you type something that in your head is funny, and it's read completely different.
Yeah.
Okay, so social media doesn't allow. To me, social media is not communication. Okay,
So
you're
if it was animated,
you're
it would be better.
communicating, but you're not communicating.
So if it was animated, if your social media had a short clip of you talking about talking
No,
your
because
phrases,
there's a dialogue there. There's a give
Yeah.
and take in there.
Well, I find that at times I'll communicate with another lawyer that I don't know, either by email or text.
text.
And then all of a sudden I realize we got to talk to each other. This is not working because I believe we're closer in being able to analyze something and we're not. And so you pick up the phone and you call the other person up and say, or you send them an email and say, this is bullshit. Call me and let's figure this out.
You know, I had the
I
same
do that
thing
most
happen.
of the time with my clients and everybody else. I'm not a big letter writer. They call me. Just call me so we can discuss this.
Well,
Because my job is to answer your question.
Yeah. Well, I have
That's
two
my job.
problems. Number one, I can't thumb. All right. I'm a
a
bad
problem.
thumber. So I
Don't
go
you
to
voice
talk
the-
to text,
yes.
and it comes out like I'm a Guido. Okay. It never.
are.
It never.
Right. You're an Elmwood Park.
I have to
Guido.
put my finger on it and try to find edit. Okay. And it takes me more time to correct all the stuff that it didn't do right. Right.
Right.
So I say, forget it.
You know,
Anyway,
I think
I hit the phone. Call me.
I think one of the other issues is when we went in 2020 to Zoom, and there was a little bit of this kind of stuff going on before that, but not to the level we hit. We were successful because we all knew each other as attorneys and judges, and so we understood the foibles. But when you got involved in a new courtroom with people that didn't know you, it was really uncomfortable and you weren't really understanding them. You could get a chuckle when you were working with them on Zoom, but it didn't. The only other thing that I will tell
I mean, you couldn't charm them like the Lincoln lawyer?
No, not. You can't do it that way. But the other one last piece, I belong to the Northwest Suburban Bar Association. And the one thing that got very unique then was the judges were invited to make presentations at lunchtime. And you know what? We began to get a different view of the judges, and the judges got a different view of us. In fact, it was funny because one of the judges told a story. He was conducting court from the top of his wife's washing machine, and he had to be done with the 9 o'clock call by 10:30 so his wife could do laundry in the daytime.
Was this on Zoom or something?
Yeah, it was on Zoom, and he was doing Zoom in his laundry room.
Yeah, I mean, you'd see good judges, the cats walking across the dresser.
Oh, they're on
back,
Zoom.
And it's
Okay.
like, yeah, I mean,
It was, but we got to understand a completely different side, in that sense of the word, and it was cute. It was funny. To go back on one other thing, and you were asking a question, and this is what I really believe strongly. I believe that lawyers, even if they're working in an area, have to have had experience in working in a variety of other areas of law because they bring value to that. And the reason I say that is I had a case one time where an individual had filed bankruptcy and she went out and she got the best and brightest bankruptcy attorney she could find, only did bankruptcy. And the person took a snapshot of her life and didn't look on this side or that side, just straight up the middle. Once this ended up in court, the bankruptcy trustee determined that she might have committed fraud, which she actually hadn't, because she hadn't made disclosures on things for 3 or 4 months before this bankruptcy window was open, because she was trying to save herself. Now she ends up being called in by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and there's a criminal investigation of her. And the point is, when this file came in, we started dealing with it, Rich and I did, as a criminal issue. And then she said, well, you understand bankruptcy. And I said, yeah, and I never would have let you do this. And then I proceeded. We walked her out of the bankruptcy. They converted her to a 7 from a 13. And I even kept her house for her. And the point of the matter is that this lawyer didn't understand. And I called him up. And nice guy. I mean, he said, Roy, I've only done bankruptcy my entire life.
I'm involved in a guardianship that involves the woman has some severe alcohol issues, and the family estate is worth about $200 million.
You got to be louder. I can't hear you.
$200 million
I heard
is this
that.
estate, but
That makes your bell.
so having done divorce and having done guardianship, somebody goes, maybe we should get Nick involved in this case because he knows both angles of all of this and he might be a good person to plug in. So to get to Roy's point is if you can be kind of multifaceted, you can get business because of you being multifaceted. If you're a one-trick pony, you're a one-trick pony.
Well, and it multifaceted brings me back to me, okay? I was a multifaceted person myself when I was young because I was a degreed social worker. I was supposed to modify or help people modify their behavior through social work, right? And I was also a bouncer, okay, at the Aragon, which meant I modified your behavior through physicalness. So in my 30-some years as a bouncer, especially at the Aragon, I probably bloodied more people than Mike Tyson, you know, and I didn't win every fight, okay, but if you fought with me, you knew you were in a fight. And people would ask me, well, how do you live with yourself with those two different dichotomies, okay? And I said, well, you know, it's easy because even as a bouncer, you give the person a chance, okay? You say, get off the chairs.
Right.
Don't keep pinching that girl's butt, okay? And if they don't listen, you don't have time to take them into a therapy room and sit down and say, I hear you saying that you have an issue with girls, okay? You don't have that time. You have the, keep your hands to yourself or I'm gonna beat the living daylights out of you, you know? And that's the reality of expedience, all right? And that brings us right back to the original reason for tonight's subject, which is ice in Chicago. And we're not talking about winter, okay? We're talking about, is it effective? Is it necessary? What are the pros and cons?
Whether it's effective remains to be seen. ICE believes that they're being effective. They're taking a lot of bad guys off the street.
That's the
According
goal?
to them,
Take
yes.
bad guys off the street.
Take bad guys off the street, okay?
Okay.
And if people are here illegally that get caught up in that, they got to go too, okay?
You mean mom and dad?
Maybe,
If their
maybe.
kid was a M13 or whatever.
No. If mom and dad are here illegally and the M13, they go to get the M13 kid and mom and dad's there and they're not documented and they're here illegally or they've overstayed their visa, oh, well, guess what? Your kid just got you kicked out. Okay? That's not their goal. Their goal isn't to go find those people. At least that's what I've seen and what I've heard from people that I know that are in the industry.
But they're going to find those people at the
They're gonna find
Home
them-
Depot?
They find them. They're out looking for people. They're
Yeah,
not
but-
just looking. The point of the matter is, here's the point of the matter, Danny. James Medrick, who is the sheriff of DuPage County that's running for governor, said that the reason that you're having all of these problems is because Illinois is a sanctuary state.
Oh, God.
No. Wait a minute now. Okay, I know you just rolled your eyes. Okay, before they became a sanctuary state, if there was an individual that got arrested that was illegal, they would make a phone call to the consulate. They would make a phone call to immigration. Immigration would say, yeah, listen, we're going to put a detainer on him. No, you guys keep him, do whatever you want with him. He's not big enough for us to go after right now. And the sheriff and the county would handle it. If they had somebody that they did want to turn over, they held them. They'd call them when they were done with them at the county jail. They would call immigration. They'd come to the jail. They'd do a soft transfer, and the person was gone. Because we're a sanctuary city now, those people are being let out into the community. And now ICE has to go track them down. They have to go find them. Okay.
It's like
That's what's causing a lot of the ICE raids and the aggression that ICE has been forced to use to find the people that they need to find or they want to find.
I can speak on from personal experience that back when I was in Cook County in 2008, a lot of the illegals that were locked up in Cook County almost spoke about immigration picking them up after their sentence from the county like a lottery. They're like, there's a chance immigration might not show up and they might release me into the street. And this is before we became a sanctuary city. And it happened quite a bit, but it seemed like the process was pretty solid, where a lot of people did not slip through the cracks in that sense. I mean, it was pretty much.
Why do you think it's a sanctuary city, or it became a sanctuary city, or the feeling is that
Pandering.
it should
Vote pandering.
pandering?
Vote pandering.
Those people don't vote.
You know, in
They
Chicago,
don't vote.
Danny,
They don't vote.
Danny,
If
do.
they vote,
Danny,
it's illegal for them to vote, and it's up to the corrupt. You're part of the WIC system. The WIC people say
yes,
they're
Danny.
okay.
It
They're
is
either
illegal for them to vote. I'm not saying that all of these people come in and vote. First of all, it has to do a lot with the census. Okay.
Yeah.
Once they're counted, now a state like Illinois will get more representatives,
yeah.
which allows for more electoral
Do you
votes.
think they actually count them?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
That I agree.
Come on. When I was young, the Italians in the neighborhood wouldn't let sign the census. They would avoid the census in Elmwood Park, okay, because they didn't want the government to know they were there. I don't know why.
But see, it's not just signing the census. It's number of people that are living in housing units.
Yeah, but they have to. I was a census worker. You have to interview them under the law and sign your name on an affidavit saying, I have personally known that these people live in this house. So that's the law.
Yeah, that's
lawyers.
the law.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know guys that were election judges that would tell you how they would just absolutely swipe through and tack on votes all day long. Okay, and we've talked about this. Why are Democrats so against voter ID?
Because it was never an issue.
You're right. Until it became an issue. Until
you wanted to restrict people to vote.
You're not restricting.
You have to
people vote.
you have to go to the Secretary of State and get an ID. Well, tell me, which one of the founding
hang on a
fathers
second.
had an ID?
Hang on a second.
A picture ID?
Hang on a second.
When
Georgia-
when John Adams went to the polling place, did somebody say, "Can you give me your
No,
picture
because
ID?"
they went, there's John Adams.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Okay. Danny,
They didn't write it in the Constitution.
Georgia
is not a law.
Georgia passed a voter ID law.
Yeah.
And what we heard was, oh, black people don't know how to get IDs. They don't know how to get them. And,
Maybe they
okay,
don't.
Okay.
Maybe they're
Watch the interview.
Indians that are afraid to get their image captured.
Watch the interview of the people in Harlem, New York that went, I go right down here to get an ID. That's not a problem for me. What are you
So
people
what does
talking
that
about?
have to do
Hang
with
on a
it?
second. Hang on.
It's still not a requirement.
Georgia passed a voter ID law.
Did it pass the Supreme Court?
Yes, because it's been implemented for the last two election
The
cycles.
Georgia or the U.S. Supreme Court?
Georgia passed a voter ID law that is still in effect.
Okay.
Their voter turnout has increased, and their instances of what they feel was abuse have decreased. Okay? Most countries have voter ID. You have to go, give your fingerprint, show a picture.
How many people have been arrested in Illinois for voter fraud in the last year, 2 years, last election, major election?
I don't think there's a correlation between people arrested and voter fraud happening. I know a girl who lived in an apartment, got 3 different ballots under 3 different names at the same apartment building. And,
You know what I love about attorneys?
And then
Their
shook one.
propensity for anecdotes. Okay,
What are you talking about?
that's what you
Anecdote?
do. You don't do studies. You do anecdotes. I
Because-
have this
okay, because
particular.
I'll tell you why, Danny,
There's a
because you're
guy in Philadelphia
Well,
who was found. Whatever. That's what they do.
I use real life because if I tell you there was a study done, the first thing you're going to go is, who did the study?
That's right.
Okay, so
That's
relying on-
science.
relying on a study doesn't necessarily make it gospel.
No.
Okay.
Because it's got to be replicated.
Correct. Yes, I agree with you. Look at that. We agreed.
I know.
Okay. But that doesn't mean that study is any more reliable than or less
Once it's
reliable
been
than my person
replicated-
than the person that I know that's telling
Once
me how
it's
they
been
did it.
replicated at least 4 times and come out plus or minus, I think it's 3
Why
3%
is it such
on
a
a
bad thing?
Huh?
Why is voter ID such a bad thing?
I didn't say it's a bad thing. It's just why is it such a good thing?
Because there's so many other things that we do that require IDs. I mean, we can't go into a government building without an ID. If I go down to the federal courthouse and I don't have a picture ID, I no enter. Okay.
Well,
You
you're
can't
saying that
buy
the ID
Claritin.
makes it
You
makes
can't
it.
buy Claritin without
All right,
an
well,
ID.
wait a minute. So
Yeah.
you're saying that the ID makes it more specific, that there's less fraud involved, that it's truly you.
Yes, it absolutely will decrease the ability to
So
have
if
election fraud.
if we're looking at a device that could identify you with 100% probability, okay, of being corrupt, could you use that device to identify yourself?
I'm not quite sure what you're.
You're going
if
off
you have your
biometrics
cell
at
phone
that point, it's
and you
already
look at your
illegal in
cell
states.
phone and the cell phone face says, yes, this is you, I will open up. And then you have an app on there that says
Then you're being
election.
identified.
Excuse me.
But you're being identified.
I know.
Okay.
But then you got a cell phone and you hit your app that says, I want to vote.
Okay.
And you vote off your cell phone.
Okay.
That would be okay?
If it can identify you and verify that that's who you are and you vote and that you can only do that once, I don't know if I'd have
And
a problem
nobody else
with it.
can get in that cell phone
Right, unless
they
you're
have
dead
their
and they take your
password.
picture,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
but you've already registered and you've already cast your vote.
Okay.
So, but what you just said is a form of voter ID. They're identifying you.
Okay,
But
I'll
isn't
go
there a
with that.
ton of laws against biometric verifying, especially like on a federal level? Like there's a lot of
issues.
Like,
Regulations.
like certain cameras.
Biometrics is fingerprints.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Because there's cameras right now on houses. I
It's
installed these
retina
for a living,
reading.
and
It's
if-
reading your retina. It's there's a lot of other things that
They
are
can
involved.
I wish I
Dollar
could
face,
show you my
everything.
phone. I left it in the house. The cover for my phone is just a picture of my eye, so nobody has to scoop it out if they need to get someplace. I
So
just
you
hand
know,
them my phone.
to take maybe going back to sanctuary state and not getting just hung up on the ID itself. I think that there's a bigger issue with sanctuary ID, and it's like anything, or sanctuary state, and it's like anything else in Illinois or any state for that matter. But when you pass legislation, there are other interests. There's prurient interests that are making money. And so the situation with sanctuary states is it's the cottage industries. It's the bringing in of not-for-profits that make money on it because you're now
How does a
caring
not-for-profit make money?
Oh, because they're getting grants. And because what they're doing is they're
But that's
taking
not
care of
making
migrants.
money. I used to be a not-for-profit, so I know exactly how it works, okay? You have to quantify everything you're spending, otherwise you're in big-ass trouble.
I would respectfully disagree. I have a
yeah.
case right now
Yeah.
where
There you go,
they've worked
Well,
around all of this, and the
Don't
guy's a
diminish our life
whistleblower.
experiences,
Yeah,
Danny.
but-
Don't diminish our
but-
life
but I mean-
No,
experiences.
you got to give me how many out of
Okay.
a percentage of life
One is
expectancies.
enough.
One's enough?
One's enough.
One murder's enough. right?
One murder is enough.
Think about this: goodwill. I'm going to use as
But
goodwill.
that's not what Charlie Kirk said.
What did Charlie Kirk say, Danny?
Didn't he say that a few casualties are acceptable
No,
for this?
he
No, he
never
didn't
said
say
they were
that.
No, he never said they
Then what
were
did he say?
acceptable. He said they were a consequence. He never said they were acceptable.
And it's a
consequence.
They're a
consequence.
consequence. Yeah,
Okay.
there's 50,000 people that get killed on the road from driving accidents and DUIs and speeding.
You wanna
We don't-
compare
we
cars to
don't-
guns?
We don't. We're
Let's
not.
do
Whoa,
that.
whoa. We're not talking about guns.
Okay.
We talk about guns. There's
What-
you know how many you know
what
what the
killed
percentage
Kirk? It wasn't
you
a
know
car.
you know what the percentage of guns out there versus deaths from guns? 0.0000001%.
So what's the percentage of cars out there from death
We're not
cars?
talking again, it's probably very low, but it's a consequence. It's not acceptable. I don't accept people dying from gunshots.
Okay, well, that's good, 'cause neither
and
do I.
And neither did Charlie Kirk.
Well, that's
Okay?
good too.
All right. Well, I mean, and again, that was one of the things that he got vilified for, and people don't really listen to him or didn't really understand.
Well, I think it was
some of
an
the things
intentional
Yeah.
restatement, is what I believe. But you talk about not-for-profits not making money. Look at what someone who heads Goodwill makes as president or the employees make. The point is there are funds in it. And also what happens is there's a recycling of the money. When state grants are provided or federal grants or for that matter other grants from foundations, that money makes itself back into the political chain. And there is money consistently being made.
So
listen,
you're saying Goodwill will give donations to political campaigns?
Well, no,
is
what
that
I'm
what you're saying?
saying
So
is-
that they can get
well,
grants back
okay,
from
well,
those
what I'm saying
politicians?
is it's lucrative
Well, I
to
don't-
run and head not-for-profits. And so there's constant wash of money. Money is constantly
I
washing
ran a
around.
not-for-profit, called Doc Gandalf's General
Well, you were
Store.
probably the only honest
I'm sorry,
not-for-profit
but
in the country.
Do you remember back in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, that's when I ran it.
Every NFL football game, we had the United Way. It was
Yeah.
commercials for the United Way.
Yeah.
Okay? How come we don't see the United Way around anymore?
Well, you can have bad people that run these things.
But they found out that is a great way to launder and filter money. What happened to the Bill Clinton Haitian Initiative?
Well,
The Bill and Hillary Clinton Haitian
we can
Initiative.
spiral
that was
into laundry money.
No. You brought this up. They
Okay.
came up and they raised millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, and they were going to feed people in Haiti, and they were going to give them running water, and they were going to do all this stuff. Where'd it go? Where is it now? It's
I don't
gone.
know. You know what? If I
because
had
it was
time to
nothing
prepare
more-
for it, I'd tell you.
It was because it was nothing more than a way to politically wash money for them.
Where did it go then?
To
whose pocket?
All the way back. It probably got circled around, like he said.
Yeah, but
like
you're,
Roy said.
you're conjecturing.
But no, I
You're
can't.
not
I'm
giving me
going
any
to give a
evidence.
factual statement
Okay,
now.
go ahead.
And I probably, if this gets seen by somebody, I'll be in big trouble. But I tell you what, I'm on the Leiden Township Board. Skippy was originally the
Saviano?
Saviano was originally the supervisor. Now Bradley comes on. Now Bradley thinks that Skippy he was.
Stevenson?
Pardon me.
Stevenson?
Yeah, Bradley Stevens, who's now
yeah.
who's now the mayor of Rosewood.
Right, yeah.
And so what happens? He comes
Bimbo.
on. Yeah, Bimbo. Well, okay, we don't want to call him it, but anyway. So the reality is,
Danny said
he comes in with a plan to reduce grants that we're providing to social service agencies in the township. And at the time, Al Biancalana and I go, that's not a really good idea. We've been on this board. This is going to create. And he said, no, this is ridiculous where this money's going. So we sit back, budget comes in, there's a reduction in grants, okay? Now, here's the problem. It's not just the people that were receiving the services. Now, we had those people sitting in wheelchairs and everything else, but now the phone calls come in because money was going for these not-for-profits that people were running businesses selling goods and services to the not-for-profits. And they were, right, and they were making donations to other political figures. Within 30 days of that budget getting put up, not fast, he was getting calls from vendors.
So
he was
how
getting calls
unusual
from
is that?
politicians, okay?
We pay, I'm going to give you an analogy, okay? I know what you're saying, how the money goes around in a roller merry-go-round.
And that's what the sanctuary state does.
Yeah.
It's created more opportunities. And it's created a tremendously amount of opportunity. Let me tell you what, every time they pass a law, Nick and I make more money, okay? Because we are handling the crisis that the new law created. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Example, the fact that every kid now, and I'm not saying this is bad, but every kid has to be evaluated psychologically in school now. There are parents that are against that, okay? Do you know it doesn't go in effect until January 1st of 2026? Do you know I have a backlog of appointments of people coming in right now wanting to know how to opt out, and I'm making money on that? Yeah, and I'm making money on that, okay? That legislation was a bonanza for me because it's not the hardest law to practice. I got a form. I sit down, I interview them, we talk about it, I tell them how we get it to the school, okay? And I get paid. And the point I'm making is when Sanctuary State was adopted, all of these other opportunities came in.
But there's no such thing as sanctuary state. There's not a form that says Illinois is a sanctuary state. Is there?
Yes.
Where's the law?
Yes.
Where can you show me the statute that says?
I cannot bring it to you here and now. I'm sure if our crackpot over there gets on there, Luigi, he'll find it for us. But yes, they are designated by law, voted in, enacted, executive order, however you want to call it. It is a sanctuary state. The thing that really kind of upsets me, and you and I were in this industry, okay?
Yeah.
You know that if one of our guys was in trouble and the radio went off, we all jumped and we ran.
Yep.
Cops included, okay? The fact that they are our government, okay, our governor and the mayor of Chicago, who has a 4% approval rating right now, 4%.
Yeah, I know. I just read that before I walked in
Are
today.
vilifying guys that are just law enforcement officers that are out there doing the job that they are assigned
Well, I don't
to
think
do.
the governor is vilifying them.
Oh,
I think
no.
he's-
He called them thugs. He said they're
The ones that they caught on video beating that
Danny,
guy
stop.
up.
No, don't minimize what he's doing. He's
they were-
labeling all of
he
them.
did what you
is
guys
not-
do.
He is not
took an
supporting,
anecdotal evidence
he is
and
not
pointed it out.
supporting. He is not supporting law enforcement in any way, shape, or form.
Correct.
But Mayor Johnson is not supporting law enforcement in any way, shape, or form. They had an incident the other day where the cops were, the ICE guys got surrounded. They called Chicago PD for help. The cops were on their way there, and the chief of patrol said, "Call it off, back off. We're not going in." They wouldn't even support their own law enforcement buddies. Now I got to tell you something.
And now they're
I don't
denying
care. You and I know a lot of cops. There's a lot of cops that'll tell you that's bullshit. And screw you. If another cop's in trouble,
Well, no,
we're going in.
that's a life and death issue. Yeah, I
Okay.
understand that.
Okay, these guys are law enforcement. Oh, we support law enforcement. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're not willing to back up those guys and say, listen, keep those people off the street. They're doing their job. If
Well,
you want,
what-
if you don't
I
like,
think what
if
you're
you don't
missing
like
is
what
that-
ICE is doing, okay, then vote people out. Get the laws changed. You can sing "Kumbaya" in the corner and walk around.
Wait a
in
minute.
a
Why
circle.
is that good for them, but not good for your people?
What my people?
The people who stormed the fucking Bastille on
Oh,
January
there's your
6th.
one anecdotal.
Oh.
When was the last time we shot somebody, Danny?
All right.
When was the last time we?
How many cops got killed
When
there?
was the?
How many
none.
cops died?
Zero.
The guy who got hit on the head with a
Zero.
He didn't die.
Zero, Danny. Zero.
Luigi, look up the guy that got hit
Zero
with the
cops died from January 6th or whatever that freaking
Okay.
date was. Okay, how many people have the right shot and killed in the last 5 years? When Obama got elected and people were going, "This guy's terrible," what did we do? Nobody went out and tried to shoot him twice, and then everybody went like, "They too bad they missed." There's a guy that's running for Attorney General in Virginia. Attorney General in Virginia that texted somebody and said, the Speaker of the House, I'd like to put a bullet in his head and put a bullet in his kids' heads.
But they
That
put a
guy
bullet
should-
in the
that guy is qualified to be.
in
That guy
Wisconsin,
should be.
Minnesota.
That guy should be qualified to be the Attorney General because he wants to pull it in
No,
somebody.
he shouldn't. But what
But
about
your
the people up
but
there?
your people will not say, you know what, you need to leave. You need to leave.
What's
you need
the
to get off
problem?
the ballot.
Okay, what's the problem with them being here?
What do you mean
Let's
what's
get
the
down.
problem?
Well, let's get down to
let's
that.
let's not get off the subject.
No, that is the subject.
The subject is why can't liberals, the Democratic Party, tell a guy that condones wanting to shoot an opponent because he doesn't agree with him that, you know what, you need to get off the ballot.
I'm not sure that anybody didn't do that. But what I am sure about is Jesus Christ wouldn't take the position you're taking right now regarding the people in Chicago, the immigrants in Chicago. JC would not be in your chair right now. He would not be behind you. And you're a man of God. You're a man of God. I've had 12 years of Catholic school, okay? So I don't think any of us here are heathens, and I want you to show me where in the Bible it said he
but
would
see,
have done this.
When the thief on the cross
Yeah,
asked for forgiveness,
yeah,
he forgave him, correct?
yeah. This night you'll be in heaven with me or something,
Did he pull
right?
him off the cross?
No.
He didn't pull himself off the cross. He
That's
couldn't
right.
show that
That's
miracle, right?
That's right. He didn't pull him off the cross.
Well, he couldn't show the miracle.
The point of the matter is, it doesn't. He will still treat those people with compassion, but that doesn't mean that they can just break the law and get away with and not.
That's
suffer their
different than
consequences.
being on the crew that takes care of those people for breaking
But
the
see,
law. The people that support the invasion of the city by the
Okay, but see,
ICE
here,
people.
let's just separate this out. I
Yeah.
see. Here's what I believe, and I'm becoming more and more feeling this. It's not about the immigrants. The immigrants, in my opinion, are the window dressing. There are all these other agendas. I mean, we have a situation now where we are being told that there was a bounty put out by a Hispanic gang to kill an
Oh,
Oh,
ICE person.
Jesus Christ. You know how many Italian gangs put out
But
bounties in the
the point
30s?
is,
Why do you dismiss
my point is, the immigrants are the least part of this discussion. It's all of everyone else's agendas
No, it isn't.
that are
They
involved.
are the point of the discussion because you're putting your knee on their neck and they're going to say things and do things in reaction to that you're not going to like and that you're not going to think is legal. And you're going to end up getting it because you forced the issue. And if you can't see that, then go to community college and take behavioral science course 101. Okay? That's all you have to do.
Don't demean our intelligence because we're not educated enough to agree with what.
Well, you
what
got to
you're
be able
saying.
to understand behavior.
No, but here's what the behavior is. Yes, they had suppose that they have the text messages of the leader of the Latin Kings putting out and saying if you kill the head of ICE, it's a $10,000 for you. Okay.
And why is he doing that?
Hang on a second.
Why is he doing that?
Hang on a second, because I'll tell you why. Okay. When we used to do the Grateful Dead shows, who were the wise Grateful Dead fans? They would stir all the idiots up on this side, and when all the idiots were trying to sneak in this way, they would go this way.
Right.
Okay? So their agenda is let's add to the chaos, let's add to the confusion,
Diversion.
because we can get along and we can go do whatever we want to do on the back.
So you think it's a
I think-
concentrated...
I think the gangbangers are smarter than we give them credit
Oh
for.
yeah, and I think one of the things is I got told something when I first got on a school board by a superintendent. He told me a secret. He said, "I control by chaos," and then he gave me a book, and he basically said, "If I create crisis, the board comes to me, and then I achieve the power, and I take it away from the board." And that guy became a lifetime friend of mine because he was an interesting guiding light of advice. But let's take one break and let's go back on something. Luigi has found for us the fact that the statement they have is one officer in the Capitol Police died the day after January 6th, after the attack, after suffering 2 strokes. In the months that followed, there were other officers who responded who also died, and one by suicide and a few other things. But the question comes, what other things were dynamics in their life? I mean, we can have police officers responding to incidents all the time. And we get in that dialogue all the time when we talk about a
Look for one that
job-related
says
or
death by
non-job
fire
related
extinguisher.
disability, if we look at
Yeah,
it.
he's got it right there.
He's got it right there.
I was gonna say I got it. So there's
Did he die from the fire extinguisher?
No, there's only 5 officers that died in
Turn off
connection.
Rachel Maddow.
There's only 5
Wasn't
officers
Rachel, I don't
to
watch
get
her.
to 2 questions you guys asked me. There's only 5 officers that died in connection to January 6th.
Only?
None of them died on January 6th.
As a result of.
One of them, not even a result of. That's a stretch because what they're telling you here is one of them died of suffering 2 strokes the day after January 6th. Didn't sound like the 2 strokes happened then, but 2 strokes is what caused his death. And the other 4 officers were all pronounced dead by suicide, which, again, there's plenty of other investigations, things going on, but there is no officers that died on January 6th.
That is sure...
The other piece you guys asked me was about the Illinois being a sanctuary state, which I'm now realizing after investigating it's kind of a loaded question because they basically say, yes, Illinois functions as a sanctuary state due to laws like the Illinois Trust Act, but as you keep going through this, it turns out there's just like a bunch of different law in Illinois that supports the thought of a sanctuary state or
But
whatever
it
you
weren't
consider.
specific for that.
Well, no, they're all very specific. It's saying that it comes from so many different sources, but the main source is being the Illinois
They tie
Trust
it in.
Act.
They tie it into other areas and other bills and other areas.
Yeah,
of
and that's how they
services.
got it through, because what they
Right.
did is they threw, the trick down in Springfield is throwing riders in. So you're voting for save the cats, and all of a sudden we're having something else attached.
It's
And-
kind of
Yeah.
like it's kind of like
I kind of remember that because I remember when the Democrats wanted to get the Republicans to agree to a bill that said the credit card companies had to have a consistent date to bill you on and couldn't float that date 3 days before, 4 days after to get up, the juice on it, right? And the Republicans said, all right, we'll vote for it as long as you can allow people to wear a firearm on a federal property like Yellowstone.
that's been the
Okay?
nature of politics.
That's exactly what
Right.
you're talking
That's
about.
the nature of politics.
Well,
You
that's
know,
how
the-
people
the-
compromise,
right.
okay?
Right.
I understand that.
And the government shutdown now is you can talk.
That's bullshit. The Democrats shouldn't be able to do it. The Republicans shouldn't be able to do it. When they when they decide that there's a budget, that's it. there shouldn't be a reconciliation at the end.
Well, this isn't reconciliation. They have a continuing resolution. It's been passed 15, 17 times.
Yeah, to
it's
keep
the
it going.
Same bill, just to keep it
For the
going.
debt.
And the Democrats wanted threw in a bunch
I'm
of stuff
saying
that
it's bullshit.
basically repealed the big beautiful bill that they
Right,
passed earlier
right. It's
this
bullshit.
year.
Okay, if they
Yeah,
didn't have
and-
enough
and-
sauce to do it in the first place, don't try to intimidate me at the end. It's like going to the grocery store with your wife, buying everything that she wants to get, coming home, and then the credit card bill comes and you say, I didn't want this shit. You did. You pay for it. Okay, that's what we're doing on a national level, and it's bullshit.
Well, mine has a different formula. I see a bunch of stuff in the trunk, and she tells me it's all being returned. And it's like, you had to buy it in the first place to return it. You're not returning it.
You got inbound and outbound traffic.
So I don't know. We're getting close to the hour mark. It's good to be back in the chair.
Well, my input on ICE, the pros and cons. Okay, for the percentage of bad people that you get coming across to the percentage of not bad people that we're harming, doesn't feel Christian to me. It doesn't feel moral to me. Okay, it just doesn't feel right. Okay, and
So it's acceptable to have so many bad people if there's enough good people with them?
No.
Okay,
That's not acceptable either. Okay, we have a process for that. You know, it's called
Right.
the judicial system.
No, we have a process for that. It's called the immigration system.
Well, and also as a conservative, I can't understand why people would want to spend $300 a day for each officer that's deployed to Chicago while they're here during this ICE thing, instead of paying $65 one time for each immigrant to make them legal.
Well, I'll tell you why, Danny. Because one, when that person goes to the hospital, it's going to cost more than $300 at the office.
Yeah, and he's also going to mow your lawn.
No. He might mow my lawn, but he's going to go in and he's going to suck off the government teat.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay,
these are suppositions you make.
No, they're not suppositions.
Well, you have nothing to base it on.
Because they brought these figures from the budget office, Congress budget office, about how it costs Medicaid billions and billions of dollars to provide health care for illegal immigrants in an emergency room setting. When was the last time you
Only
went?
emergency rooms,
When
right?
was the last time you went to the emergency room?
When's the last time you went to one in Greece?
When was the last time
Did you go to
went?
one in Greece?
Danny, I'm not asking
I
you
went
why
to
you-
one in Italy.
Okay,
They
I don't
didn't
care
ask
about
me
Italy.
for
I
my
don't live in
papers.
Italy, Danny. I don't care about Italy.
Well,
Okay?
it's the same thing. It's
No,
an analogy,
no, what
Nick.
you're not- no,
this is
what-
what the
no, what
Greeks
you're not-
used to make their point. They used analogy. That's what Plato used.
No. What I'm trying to tell you is if you've gone to an emergency room lately in the last 5 to 7
Rhonda,
years.
jump in. You're an
Okay.
emergency room girl.
Okay.
She has been.
You go into the emergency room and there's a bunch of people there, and you know what? They're really not there for emergencies. I got a cough. I got a pain.
Is that true, Rhonda?
I got it. I know. I have a friend of mine that's the head of the emergency at Lutheran General High School.
She
or Lutheran
teaches
General.
nursing.
I have a very good friend who is the head of
Bring
Lutheran
him here next
General
week.
Hospital, okay? And he will tell you that a majority of the stuff that comes in there aren't emergencies.
A Lutheran General? You mean the one up in Park Ridge?
Yeah.
How many immigrants do you find in Park Ridge?
you have any
That's-
idea?
That's where Hillary Clinton was
Yeah.
raised.
Oh,
That's-
Danny, stop. Danny,
Come on.
It's one of the bigger
If you go into,
traumas out there.
go into unincorporated Maine
Oh, come
Township,
on.
you got more shootings.
Dismiss it
Some nights
because
than
of
the
Maine
Maine
weekend.
Township, okay.
But that's
But
right
not
there.
Park Ridge.
That's right there.
That's
Park
Maine
Ridge is
Township.
in Maine Township.
What are you talking about? Maine High School's right down the street.
I know, but it's not Park Ridge. Anyway.
Well, it's part of. Well, listen.
Yeah.
I have
Any
one last
questions?
thing to say.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
my point that,
What do we
that I
got?
feel is, I think the sanctuary city, or using this as a generic term, it's almost like the military defense complex. Everyone is now seeing it
okay,
as a
so-
money machine.
Yeah, you're seeing it as an entity instead of
it's becoming an
parts.
entity into itself, and so it's ICE is only this little fraction of what's going on in this entire entity, and it's become its own machine.
Come on.
What do we got, Luigi? Anything?
Obama deported more people than Trump ever has.
And did you applaud him for it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Did you bitch about it?
No,
we
I
were-
didn't even
were
know about
was
it.
Christian back then?
I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, because he was doing it and it was okay.
Okay.
Clinton ran on that. We can't have illegals. Hillary,
Well, it must have
Bill,
been okay
all of
because you
them.
guys didn't object.
No,
Well, he
we
was the
didn't
chief
object.
supporter.
We're consistent, Danny. We don't flip flop with the. We don't flip flop. We're not a win.
So he
side.
was a president for everybody, and not just Danny.
Wasn't well. Not,
All right,
Not with my
what do we
boys.
got
What
up
do you
there,
pal?
Luigi?
All right, you guys got a few good comments. For one, Rhonda chimed in earlier about the Chicago police being told to stand down with the ICE agents. She said Chicago police got pepper sprayed by ICE when they showed up in response to ICE's 9/11 call for help, which I will say I did see those videos as well, and I did look it up, and it does show that, yes, there are viral videos appearing showing Federal Immigration and Customs Enforcement using the tear gas and pepper balls and that Chicago PD, but that's kind of a generalized thing, though. I mean, when that stuff gets used, it's in
Directly,
the air.
yeah, right. I mean,
you,
did they-
you
were they
guys have
shooting it
talked
at the
about it
cops?
on the show with the wind
Yeah.
coming back, and so it's part of the territory. It comes with it. Then we also had John come in, said excellent episode, by the way. I think Nick, we're all happy, including me, to see you back. It's awesome. This was explosive. And the very last thing Rhonda decided to toss in there is, so is it acceptable that all good people have to go down with a few bad people? EMTALA, only for emergencies. If not an emergency, they get triaged and discharged.
Okay. But they're still getting. They're
still
triaged.
getting-
Well, they
and
got to
getting
get by
looked at.
law. They
Okay.
got. You have to do emergency services.
Right, you have to do emergency. Yeah,
Okay, who
Yeah.
was it that did that? Was that Clinton?
that was
It was
Clinton.
Ron Clinton,
Yeah, it was
right?
Ron
Rhonda,
Clinton.
Rhonda's second question.
Yeah, Clinton,
I
you're right
wanted to
about
respond to that. She said something earlier. The second one, not about the gassing, and not the last one. You had to. Anyways.
Are you talking about the if you don't believe that, then you have?
Oh
to have
no!
the
Do all the good
2045
ones have
project?
the bad ones have to go out with the good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
If you didn't, in my opinion, no, I don't. I think it's. I don't like the idea that good people get caught up with the bad guys. So if you would have had a process where you don't have this sanctuary designation, where governments can work together to find the bad guys and go get just the bad guys, the moderately innocent, the moderately guilty wouldn't be so caught up in the whole scheme of things and get swept up in the vortex. So no, I don't like it either. But let's not make these people all out to be, they're just great hardworking people. We heard about the tamale lady.
Okay, here we go.
The tamale lady that lives in Northbrook, that sells tamales, lives in Northbrook, that drives the
Cocaine in the
Mercedes.
bottom, right?
I don't know if she's got cocaine in there, but she lives the big lifestyle, and she probably won't pay a whole lot of taxes.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're Hispanic and you're bilingual and you live around Texas and you
Why-
want to
why
make
just Hispanic?
some side money, this is what I suggest you do. Get yourself a photo ID a passport camera. It has 2 lenses on it. You get 2 pictures back right away. Get a laminator and get a what they call an instant inkless
Laminator?
Well, you don't even need that. A fax machine. Okay, go south of the border and set up shop. They're paying mules $2,000 to get them across the border. You can charge $100. It'll cost you $65, and you can give them a passport, and that's legal. And they can come
What are
here
you
for
talking
$30.
about?
All
do you
the
mean it's
people
legal?
who want to come across the border, all you have to do
He's
is.
recommending passports
You're
now.
recommending committing forgery
Why is it forgery?
because it's not an official document.
You got to have United States government issue.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, you take all the stuff that you need to do, and you don't have the U.S. government.
Yes,
you
you
go to
do.
the Mexican government.
Well, then go to the Mexican consulate and get one.
Well, that's all you have to do.
Then go do it.
Have a counselor.
Go do it. Go to Mexico. Go to the
That's what
Mexican
I'm telling them
consulate
to
and
do.
do
I'm
it.
telling these guys.
No, you're telling them they got
set
to
up
forge
shop.
documents and sell them to people so they can come across the border.
Well, you could do it that way too.
We'll see you in federal court, Danny.
I think we should take a class trip to Mexico and go see how hard it is for one of us
no,
to get a
thank you.
passport.
No, thanks.
Well, we can't go. We're gringos. Okay. Hey, wait
I'm
a
going to
minute.
Hawaii. They fly the American
Wait a
flag there
minute.
every day.
Wait a minute. All the movies that we used to see in the 30s and 40s, when the criminals in America wanted to leave or wanted to not get caught, they'd head to Mexico.
Right.
They'd get in the car and they'd cross the border. And
Yeah, because it was harder to fly and get on a boat.
all right. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, we send our criminals down to
Thanks,
Mexico.
John. Good seeing you too.
All right. We got any more in there? Because we're getting ready to wrap it up.
All right.
All right, listen. Luigi's going on an extended vacation for 2 weeks. So we're going to go dark because without Luigi, we're no one. Okay? We're nowhere, nobody. You know.
He's our mule.
Yeah, he's the mule. Okay, so we'll see you back here. What's 2 weeks, 3 weeks from today?
Whatever it is.
3 weeks from today, we'll see you back here, I hope. And thanks, Rhonda. Thanks, John, and everybody else who might be out there, all 12 and a half of you, whatever.
So it'll be October 28th. We'll see you on October 28th.
October
That's what it is.
28th.
Yeah, it's
oh, it'll
October
be our
28th.
Halloween segment.
We should do a Halloween
I'm
segment.
not getting dressed up.
You're not what?
I'm not getting dressed up.
Oh, you're not getting dressed?
No.
I'm always dressed up, so I'm okay.
All right. Did you do this when I was gone?
Huh?
Did you do it when I was gone?
Yeah.
He did.
Okay, good, man. Ready?
Ready?
Good
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.